Hi there and welcome to another Storytime Speed Painting. And in this video I'll be answering a frequently asked question that I get, and that is, where do you get your inspiration? Also, thank you so much for all the support and enthusiasm you've shown for my comics. So glad you enjoyed the stories and the characters, and for those of you that are new, welcome. You can read my comics for free on Tapas and support me on Ko-fi, links below. So firstly, I want to explain what's on screen. It is one of our Halloween illustrations for our comic book series Niels Feynman's Time Traveling Adventures. Between posting story pages, we often do seasonal holiday posts for fun. They're also a quicker way to do art pages than paneled story pages, so it allows us to rest a bit on holidays and better manage our workload. It's important to take care of your health and work at a decent pace. The illustration is inspired by the Batman Who Laughs issue from the Dark Knight's Metal series from DC. My comic has similarly a multiverse. All my stories share the same multiverse, and I have villains and heroes that somewhat mirror that situation, with the chains symbolizing relationships, like the Fleetwood Mac song, Chains. So, regarding creativity, right off the bat you can tell I consume a lot of art, and that takes inspiration from various sources, and that is just my fuel. It's easy for me to make connections in my head, been doing it since I was a baby, and that just fuels a lot of my creativity. I've always been creative because of how my brain works and what I feed it, I guess. And while I fully understand that's not how other people are, there are ways you can be more like that if you want to. I often see or hear or get asked by people how I'm so creative. They tell me they don't have the motivation or the energy or the time, and they ask me because I have a rather wild imagination and seem to produce a lot of content. First of all, thank you. I don't think I'm such and such as people say, but here's what I do and hope it helps you out. Regarding organizational skills, I enjoy making lists and having a neat environment. I'm not your stereotypical messy artist. I love having tools on hand, knowing where all my files are, and because that saves me time, it has so many other benefits. I have a more extensive video on the topic you can check out in my Hisame vlogs playlist. But the idea is the more time I have, the more I can create. Being organized helps me with that. Clutter frustrates me and affects my productivity. Another thing to be mindful is not everything I do is good. I trash a lot of stuff and keep what I think is worth posting and sharing, so making more art increases my chances of making okay art, nice art worth sharing. Therefore, my recommendation is make more, always be making art. Some of it will be really good, other, if nothing else, it'll be something you'll like and be proud of or happy about. Don't necessarily make art because you have a deadline or you should post online. Start making a lot of art as study, as tests, as learning opportunities. They don't have to be Instagram perfect, but are for your own growth. For the third piece of advice, get in deep on a topic of interest and make it personal. Let's say I'm doing comics, science fiction for kids, and I'm an adult who loves animation and does advertising material for food companies as a living. Well, I better start getting familiar with comics, right? I'll start reading comics I like first and then get into ones that are for my target audience, which I previously established are kids who love science fiction. And Tapas and Comixology are great places to find comics for free. You can also talk to parents and kids or just do your own market research if you know how. I actually studied market research in university, so I kind of know how to dig up data and interpret it. You can read books from people that have made comics. For example, Scott McCloud's tutorial series is a personal favorite that I totally recommend, and you should read religiously because he has such great insight and concise delivery. So if you're anything like me, you want to study a topic before jumping in and not wasting a lot of time with failure, and want to improve faster by watching others, then remember my recommendations. Lots of comics, many are free on Tapas and Comixology. And third, if you're doing your comics digitally, Control plus Paint is a great source of free online tutorials, aside from my own. And use Clip Studio Paint to make your comics. It makes things easier and faster, that's what I use, and it's greatly improved our workflow. So in conclusion, to be more creative, I make time and space for myself so that I can do my best. Of course, if you suffer from depression, anxiety, or you live in a chaotic environment devoid of privacy and personal space, you can use that as fuel to make stories covering that topic because it's easier to write and draw what you know rather than a foreign topic for which you'd have to study a lot prior if you want to make it right. So you can use your art to vent your frustrations. It can be liberating for many. Secondly, make art all the time. Scribble on tissues, on magazines, or other trash. Make lists, make character sheets, make trash those, and then start over and pick again. You'll get better ideas next week. And if you forgot something, probably wasn't that good, you'll do better tomorrow, don't worry. Play around with concept art, backgrounds, fighting poses. Always be making art. And thirdly, consume other art forms of interest or tangential to your project. Feed the flames of your inspiration. Whatever idea you have, don't worry, someone else already thought of it and did it better than you, so try and find out what spin you can put on it. For example, Game of Thrones can be viewed as a darker, grittier, and more realistic version of Lord of the Rings if you can see those parallels. Personally, I view them as fundamentally different pieces of art, but there are one inspired the other. And another example I can give you is my Niels series is a mix of Wishbone, the time traveling dog from the 90s kids TV show, and the works of Jules Verne. I took a lot of inspiration from the two IPs while slapping on top themes of parenthood and friendship and belonging and other concepts I'm interested in exploring with my art. And you can too. Don't just make a girl ethnic super Batman. Find out what folk heroes you have in your ancestral heritage or a culture you admire and mix it up with your favorite stories. What themes, what ideas, and issues are most pressing to you as a person? Add those to the mix, and bam, you have a world that has depth and personality. Don't just make something that is trendy now, because by the time you finish your comic, it will be outdated and not as interesting anymore. Now, to end this, if you found this video format entertaining, let me know in the comments if you'd like me to continue like this instead of just adding music, and what else would you like me to explain next? I also do live art streams, tutorials, vlogs with my cats and plants, reviews of art products and services, and art events like the Quick Draw collab, which I totally recommend you check out. Thanks for watching. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and you can buy my art from Lulu, Society6, Redbubble, and now you can even commission me on Fiverr. Cheers and happy Halloween.